China and the People's Bank of China have harnessed this and are ready to put it out there. There is concern that this could put the U.S. dollar into jeopardy.
What I would say to President Trump and Chairman Powell is we shouldn't paint all crypto with one broad brush. What I think you see in their comments is the kind of very general view that can crypto be used for illicit purposes? Can crypto be used for anonymous transactions? The U.S. should not take a blind eye and not recognize that not all of this is about those illicit use cases. And the reason why I think China is leaning in is because they see that future.
But China says that they could use their China coin to surpass or do a workaround the sanctions that the U.S. has put into place on certain countries.
And so I think you're right that part of the opportunity they see is how can they dislodge the U.S. dollar. What Ripple is trying to do isn't at all to compete with the U.S. dollar, to compete with really any fiat currency. We're simply trying to use our technologies and use the open source technology of the XRP ledger to reduce the frictions in these payments.
Well, to that end, when you're talking about the government, French Hill, a Republican from Arkansas, and Bill Foster, the Democrat from Illinois, both wrote a letter to the Federal Reserve saying, you guys better get on the ball here. This is important because we could lose our status eventually, or at least put the greenback in jeopardy.
Right. And I think you are seeing some members of Congress on both sides of the aisle, and luckily this is a very bipartisan issue, that they see that the U.S. has been a leader in many technical revolutions. There's no reason why we shouldn't be here. And there are big issues at stake, including, as we're describing here, kind of, where does the U.S. dollar sit in the hierarchy of global currencies?
Customers. And so we're seeing more momentum than we've ever had around using XRP to move this liquidity around the world. And so we couldn't really be happier about how that has played out in a world where there's still a lot, I think, of FUD, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of doubt about what's going on in crypto. This is a real use case solving a real problem for real customers.
Okay, so which banks right now are actually using Ripple?
We have signed up about over 200 banks around the world. Some of those banks just use our software to do that debit and credit, fiat to fiat, and some of them are using XRP in those flows. We have banks like Santander that we've been working with for years and are moving lots of volume through the Ripple's technology. And then, as I mentioned earlier, payment providers like MoneyGram or Ria or Asimov that are using XRP actually to move that liquidity and really reducing their costs and improving the product.
Just in terms of the transactions, though, that you're seeing using Ripple, what proportion of those actually use XRP versus direct? And just where do you see that ratio going? I'm just trying to get a sense of sort of how much XRP itself is actually used as part of the Ripple platform.
So I would say the order of magnitude, the way to think about it, is similar to the proportion of customers. So if we've got, I don't know, a couple hundred customers we have launched, 10 to 15 of them we've talked about using XRP, I would use that ratio as the total ratio between what's happening with Ripple's technology overall.
XRP, like Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, has been volatile. I asked Brad if the message to investors is don't use XRP to speculate.
People are going to speculate on different asset classes. People speculate on gold, currencies. You name it, people are going to speculate. When we think about this, and what I've said very publicly is I think the long-term value of any digital asset is going to be derived from the utility it delivers. There is a lot of hype in the crypto market space. We've seen that even recently. A lot of attention around what's going on with Libra and Facebook's announcement around Libra. Today, that's just a white paper.
Refer to this as the Enron of the crypto space. This has been picked up by Forbes. I have to ask you, Tone, what has been going on?
I know. I wish Forbes would have reached out for an official comment, but yeah, Forbes did pick it up. It was a little bit more of a joke, but but that's what happened. That's what happened in Enron. Enron was pretty much cooking the books, and they had a fake instrument. They were selling these, contracts on energy, but there was nothing there. It was all just smoke and mirrors. And that's how I see the Ripple token, and I've always explained it that way. There's absolutely no reason for this token to exist. There's no reason to add a very volatile currency. And Ripple is insanely volatile. Ripple just dropped 20% in a single day the other day when it fell from 30 cents down to 26 cents. These things are insanely volatile, and there's no reason for them to exist. And they keep making up reasons for it to exist. Now, there is a lawsuit going on right now claiming them to be a security, but that lawsuit is not coming on behalf of the SEC. That lawsuit is coming on behalf of an individual. So it's not exact. I don't really know what's going to happen there. We do cover it on the Bitcoin Law Review. And yeah, I know one of the lawyers didn't like the fact that I call everything a scam, but I would have given Forbes a more official comment. But yeah, the Ripple token is a really, really sad situation where it was created back in 2012 or so, just to make money, basically. And now the company has spent the last 6 years trying to disassociate itself from this token, while at the same time trying to make up any reason for it to exist.
On a final note, Tone, I do want to ask you.
Inflation, Keynes said it many years ago that it's an invisible tax that only one man in a million really understands, and it's a tax on people that have had faith in their currency that the government's issued. It's interesting in the United States. The value of the dollar since I was born has declined by 94% to 6 cents. So inflation.
So how can we take payments global? So we've talked a little bit about SEPA today. Fedor has some APIs that tap into that. So wouldn't it be cool if you had euros in any bank account, say like Deutsche or Credit Suisse, and you could actually send those euros to another account within SEPA, which is pretty fast clearing, but have that money converted into dollars, yen, or whatever other currency is actively trading on the Ripple network? That would be pretty freaking cool. So how are we going to do this? Well, Fedor's got some pretty cool APIs. Ripple also has some APIs, so maybe we can put them together to create this experience. That would be awesome. Yeah. So Patrick already alluded to this, but I'll just reiterate, even though we're API-rits, we need to respect the rules of the high seas of finance, including things like KYC and AML. You might have heard of them. Those can be expensive costs for developers to maintain, so I'm happy to see that Fedor is providing those solutions for the innovators in this space. So let's talk about the links in the chain a little bit to actually make a cross-currency transaction happen. Before I do that, I want to talk a little bit about what a Ripple gateway is. So Fedor is actually acting as a Ripple gateway after their integration. And what that means is that they are holding customer deposits in euros, and if a customer wants to transfer that money through Ripple, they can represent that euro balance on Ripple and send it through. So you can think of a gateway as kind of like a pseudo bank, right? They take in a deposit and they issue you a balance. So we have actors on the Ripple network today that aren't even actually traditional banks that are doing this type of thing. SnapSwap was referenced, and that's going to be a partner of Fedor for settling in US dollars. So gateways sync external payments with corresponding Ripple transactions. Ripple Labs has created a software framework called Gateway D,